You know, there was actually a time when it seemed like Nintendo was done making consoles. At this time, the Wii U was failing miserably, so Nintendo needed something to get people to use their hardware again. So back then, people were wondering when the next console was going to be revealed. Instead, Nintendo said fuck it and said we're making mobile games now. Yikes, man. Imagine being a Nintendo fan in 2015 and seeing this news. Honestly, if I wasn't a stupid kid, I would have probably started investing in a PlayStation or Xbox. Mobile games? Really? If that doesn't scream the end, then I don't know what does. Of course, this didn't mark the end of Nintendo consoles, but it sure seemed like it. Anyway, Nintendo mobile games. They exist. Even though they announced they were making mobile games all the way back in 2015, we've only received a small amount of what everyone was expecting. With the announcement, people thought that they would be pumping out mobile games pretty much every few months. 8 years later, and we have a total of not 1, not 2, not 3, but 5 mobile games. Oh wait, I'm not including Pikmin Bloom, but 4 mobile games. Yeah, 4 whole games in the span of almost a decade. So let's talk about them. First up, we have Super Mario Run, which was released on iOS in December 2016 and on Android later in March of 2017. Choose wisely. This was Nintendo's first mobile game, so why wouldn't it be a Mario game? But what even is this game, and is it even good? Well, Super Mario Run is a 2D auto runner that takes inspiration from the new Super Mario Bros. Series of games. I think we all know the premise of those games by now. Get to the end of the level while stomping enemies and jumping on platforms. And that's basically the premise of Super Mario Run. You run, jump, and get to the end of the level, but the game moves Mario for you. It's really simple, but it's fun. Tour is the main mode here. You get to play through 6 worlds with 4 bite-sized levels each, if you buy the game. So yeah, while the game thankfully doesn't include any sort of microtransactions, it does have you pay a one-time fee of $10 to access the full game. Without it, you'll only be able to access the first 4 levels, which is unfortunately not a lot of content. So just for you guys, I bought the game. Nah, just kidding. Why would I do that? But thankfully, Mario Run has some other modes to check out. First up, we have Toad Rally. This mode has you playing through very short levels against an opponent to see who can collect the most toads. Yeah, guys, your eyes aren't playing tricks on you. I beat Nintendo at their own game. Please, please, one at a time. This mode is alright, but not nearly good as Remix 10. This right here is what I like about mobile games. There's nothing much to it. You just play through 10 very small levels for fun. This mode is made for you to just chill out and listen to music while you play this game. Speaking of the music, there's a remix that plays in this mode and it freaking slaps. But there's an option to give Mario headphones. Oh, and what's this? It mutes the game music so I can listen to my own music? Oh, hell yeah. But this mode isn't entirely useless. Playing it unlocks items for you to decorate your village with. And while there's not much to this builder mode, I think it's really neat. It's kind of fun unlocking decorations and whatnot to build up your own little Mario village. It doesn't really do anything though, which is okay. I wasn't expecting City Builder Tycoon Deluxe Edition in my Mario mobile game, but some incentive to actually use this would have been nice. But yeah, that's Super Mario Run. The only thing I didn't really talk about was the extra unlockable characters, and that's just because I can't unlock them. They're locked behind the $10 paywall, but whatever, it's fine. All in all, I think Mario Run is a cool game and a pretty fun time on the good old Crap Trap. Alright, what's next? Ew, Fire Emblem! This is actually the most successful Nintendo mobile game because let's be real, who doesn't like Fire Emblem? Me. I don't like Fire Emblem. Yeah, I'm just generally not a fan of these type of games. I've never really been into turn-based RPGs or just strategy games in general, and this is no exception. But for what it's worth, this is pretty good for a mobile game. The core Fire Emblem gameplay is present, and while I personally do not enjoy it, it's really polished, and I can see how some people can have fun with it. You get to choose a few people to put in your party, and then you fight enemies. Different characters have different abilities and attack styles, so you have to kind of pick the best character to use for a certain task. So in other words, yeah, it's fucking Fire Emblem. There is also a story mode where you can play through sets of missions and like, whatever. I don't really see the need for a story mode in a mobile game of all things, but it's cool. And unfortunately, unlike Mario Run, this game has a shitload of microtransactions. It's not that bad though. It basically boils down to being able to buy extra characters for $5 or so. It's definitely not as bad as a game we'll get to later. But otherwise, it's objectively a good game. I'm just not a big fan of Fire Emblem, so I didn't enjoy this one that much. But Animal Crossing, oh, I like Animal Crossing. I mean, come on now, even on paper, an Animal Crossing mobile game is a no-brainer. The game seems like it was meant to be played on the go. It's the kind of game where you can just hop in, play for an hour or so, and then hop out and move on with your day. That's the kind of game that would be perfect on mobile devices. And yeah, It's freaking great. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is the next game we're taking a look at. I love how instead of putting an actual Animal Crossing game on Wii U, we get a mobile game and a shitty party game instead. Oh, Nintendo, how I hate you sometimes. But let's give credit where credit is due. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is a really good time if you ask me. In this game, you're the director of your own campsite and are in charge of keeping it up and running. You can craft furniture and other items to decorate your campsite. You can invite visitors and talk with them to get materials and other items, and you can also travel to certain landmarks and other campsites. There is surprisingly a lot of content in this game, especially for a mobile game of all things. You could easily pour hours into this game, decorating your campsite, collecting items for your character, and so much more. If you could make your campsite larger, then this could honestly stack up to the other Animal Crossing games if you ask me. This tiny space is all you have to work with. While I wasn't expecting there to be much content in the first place, I can't help but realize how this game could have been amazing with some changes. But it is just a mobile game. A free mobile game at that. Except it's really not. Yep, microtransactions are all over the place in this game, and while they're not required to play the game, you won't be getting nearly as much out of this game without them. Wanna craft something? That'll be 500 fucking tickets. Thankfully, Nintendo was nice enough to give me 3. Oh, Nintendo, how I love you sometimes. It's kinda sad, really. This is a really cool idea, but you have to spend money pretty often in order to get the full experience. But hey, Nintendo did add a subscription that gives you tickets monthly, which is cool, I'll admit, but it still sucks that so much content is locked behind a paywall. It would be different if the paid content was only for cosmetics and that kind of thing, which is the case in the next game we're talking about, but not in this one, unfortunately. Regardless, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is still a fantastic mobile game, and is almost on the same level as the actual mainline games if you ask me. Finally, we have Mario Kart Tour. This is a very similar situation to Animal Crossing, as this seems like it would work really well for a mobile game if it was given a few tweaks. And yet, even with those tweaks, it still feels like Mario Kart. Who would have fucking guessed? Of course, the gameplay is really simplified this time around. You can either do a quick race or a Grand Prix. A Grand Prix usually has 3 tracks and a bonus challenge at the end. Unlike the console Mario Kart games though, the tracks are randomly selected to be added into a cup. Also, unlike the other games, each race consists of only 2 laps, which I'm fine with because this is a mobile game. You wouldn't be playing a mobile game for more than 10 minutes at a time probably, so this was a smart decision. And the bonus challenges are fun too because it mixes up the Mario Kart formula in unique ways. They also added battle mode to a recent update of the game, which is cool because it just adds to this game, making it feel more like a full Mario Kart game than ever. The gameplay works fine enough as well. Of course, it had to be dumbed down a lot because all you have is a touchscreen, but I'll be damned, it actually works really well. The game auto-accelerates for you, and all you have to do is steer and drift, which is as simple as tapping on the screen and dragging in which direction you want to go in. Now, saying that out loud makes it sound boring, but it's really not. It works really well and is a great substitute for a controller. But out of all of the games discussed in this video, I think that Tour definitely has the most content. There are countless tracks, both new and old. We have a lot of retro tracks from previous Mario Kart games, along with completely new tracks based on real-world locations. You thieves! We also have dozens of characters to choose from, and while yes, a lot of them are simply costume swaps, I think that it's cool how they're included in the game at all. Now, you're not able to unlock all of the characters and play all of the tracks. Instead, the game rotates in new tracks every 2 weeks or so, and I like this, because with a game like this, you would want people to keep coming back to it. So, incentivizing people to play the game after some downtime with new tracks and characters is pretty genius. And unlocking all of the characters is as simple as paying hundreds of fucking dollars. You think I'm exaggerating? Okay, so the main currency of this game is rubies, and you get rubies by doing normal stuff like racing or whatever. But these things could get very expensive. Just to put it into perspective, if you want to unlock a higher tier character, then I'll usually set you back around 150 rubies or so, which could cost you over $50. What the fuck? I really don't know who allowed this to happen, and I'm honestly really not surprised. But you know what's even better? Gambling. So you could buy characters from the shop, or for less money, you can use this pipe that launches out a random character, card, item, or whatever when you feed rubies into it. So you have 2 options really. You could either spend an absurd amount of money on the character you want, or you could just gradually spend your life savings trying to get it through the pipe. Or you can just not unlock it at all. That's probably the safest option. Yeah, the game isn't making you pay money to access actual content, which is a really good thing, but I just think it's absurd how much money they're charging for nothing but alternate skins. But it's a mobile game, and what can you expect? But yeah, those are the Nintendo mobile games, and I want to clear some things up really quickly. I didn't include Pokemon Go or Pikmin Bloom because for one, I don't go outside, and for two, they weren't developed by Nintendo. And of course, I have to pay my respects to Dr. Mario World and Dragalia Lost, which were both both Nintendo developed mobile games that died out, but maybe I'll make another video on those games in the future. Alright, so let's do a ranking. In the very last place, I'm putting Fire Emblem Heroes because I'm just generally not a fan of Fire Emblem, so I didn't find enjoyment in this one. Then I would put Animal Crossing Pocket Camp because even though the game is great, it locks so much content behind a paywall. Then Mario Kart Tour because even though it's a fun game, I can't help but notice how scummy Nintendo is with its paid content. And finally, in the very first place, we have Super Mario Run because not only is it a really good time, it doesn't shove paid content down your face. And I just like Mario, so I'm kind of biased when it comes to this game. But yeah, those are Nintendo's weird and wacky mobile games. I really hope you all enjoyed this video, and let me know what you all think about these games in the comments down below. But that's it for this one, so thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.